What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Fluffinutta back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2003 Hulk movie, and yeah, so I've got a lot of thoughts on this movie. I absolutely adored this movie growing up, and alongside Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie from 2002, this movie in particular has always stood out to me as being a goated movie and a great representation of the Hulk, and is one of the reasons why I grew up reading Hulk comics and got into more of the superhero comic book genre. And yeah, and I've got a lot of thoughts about this movie. This movie is absolutely fantastic and just, oh, it's so good. And I want to make this clear right off the bat. Just because I hype up a movie and I really enjoy a movie thoroughly, that doesn't mean that it's perfect in every regard. I'm aware of this. I'm aware that not every movie is going to be perfect. Not every movie is going to be the masterclass piece of cinema, right? But more so when I review something, what I'm looking at is if the story connected to me in some way and whether or not I resonate with that story, right? And I enjoyed that story from start to finish and was invested all the way. And this movie is one of those where I'm invested all the way. I enjoyed every single part of the characters. Like, I enjoyed his transformation into the Hulk. I even enjoyed the backstory and all of the emotional. Like, this movie is emotional. This movie is deep, dark, and fucking heavily. I can't even find the words to describe how just great this is as a superhero film. Like, this isn't your typical superhero film. This is more of like a character study, like an emotional character study with like superhero elements, right? This is like the first of its kind, and it's very different. When you look at the 2002 Spider-Man movie, it's different tonality-wise, the story-wise, start to finish. Like, the villain in this movie isn't your typical villain. And honestly, I think that's why the villain for me works. But before I get too far ahead of myself, and before I start like going off the wall, rambling about this movie's praises, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to hit that like button if you enjoy today's video, or if you just enjoy my content overall. Please help me out by hitting that like button. Also, let me know down in the comments if you like this movie, what you liked about this movie, what you didn't like. If you could just dislike this movie at all, just let me know. I want to start some conversations down in the comments, and I like replying to you guys. So it really does wonders when we can start conversations about this kind of stuff. But also be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here and would like to stay up to date to all of my future reviews and rewatches to some of my favorite films, and probably other stuff later on down the line, because there's just so much films out there. Like, I could do this honestly forever. But yeah, so let's talk about the movie, shall we? So, oh my God, where do I even begin with this movie? I grew up watching this movie, and when I first watched it back when I was like, I think I was like 5 or 6. I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and recently when I watched the Captain America Brave New World movie, and they introduced Red Hulk and all this stuff, it got me thinking again about the older Hulk movies and how the MCU has really mistreated Hulk. And don't get me wrong, like, I love the MCU Hulk. I love Mark Ruffalo's take on the Hulk, and of course, I also liked Edward Norton's Hulk. But there's something about this Hulk that does not get there's something about this specific Hulk that doesn't get talked about, I feel like, nearly enough. And honestly, I would love for Eric Bana to return as Bruce Banner again, because his take on the Hulk and his acting as the Hulk and Bruce is just, it's so good. It's so good, man. Like, every person in this movie, I think, did a phenomenal job, especially the dad, dude. Oh my god, he's a fucking asshole. He is an absolute asshole. More so than Mr. Big Mustache Dickhead Ross, you know? Like, he's less of an asshole than the fucking dad to Bruce. Like, oh my god. And I think that's where this film really, really shines, is the emotional trauma that they fucking put Bruce through from start to finish. Like, the fucking Bruce is not a happy character, and they really hit that over the head. And Ang Lee, as a director, I feel like did such a great job in portraying that with the Hulk, right? Like, every shot is meaningful. Every shot in this movie is not wasted on anything. And now, like, we could get down to the nitty gritty of like the lighting and then the early CGI, but honestly, the CGI wasn't even that bad. I'm gonna be real. Like, compared to what we got in fucking She-Hulk and some of the other recent Marvel movies, this fucking shit knocks it out of the park and out of the water. Like, this shit, holy fuck. Oh my god. I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna pump the brakes. Rewind. Let's take it back from the beginning, right? Let's try to run through this and break it down. Break down the movie, right? Break down the essence of the story and really get it across why I like this and why this shit is goated, right? Okay, so we start the movie off with Bruce's father, David Bana, and he's working on a military lab out in the middle of the desert, and he's trying to find a way to create human regeneration, and he's doing a lot of tests on animals and stuff, and it's failing. He's not getting it to work, right? And the government or the higher-ups, we get a younger version of both of these characters, but the younger version of Ross pulls him in to talk to him about his experiments, and he lets him know, like, hey man, like, higher up said this is a no-go, so you're gonna stop whatever the hell it is you're doing, and you're not gonna keep doing it. This pisses him off, and him being David, this pisses David off to the point where he decides to take matters into his own hands and tries to push for human experimentation and decides to use himself as a test subject. And he injects himself with the formula he was giving to all of his animal subjects, and he goes about on his life and goes about his daily business until finally his wife, I believe her name's Eden or Edith, I forget her name. They don't really speak about her name much. It's only briefly mentioned a few times in the movie. But he's in love with her, and she tells him that she's pregnant, of course, with little baby Bruce. And everything's all hunky-dory. Bruce is getting older, but there's some weird things going on with Bruce, right? He's not a normal kid. Anytime he gets hurt or he gets angry, his skin changes, and there's something going on genetically with him. Well, this doesn't take long for David to realize, oh shit, whatever I injected myself with has now been genetically passed on to my son, and he is now a byproduct of my own, like, experimentation. So now I've got to try to find a way to cure him without her noticing. So he spends a lot of time trying to figure out a way to cure his son, and over this time period, while he's doing this, Bruce, anytime he gets sad or upset, he bottles it up, unlike a normal kid where they would usually let it out. And when he does let it out, he gets so frustrated and angry that he just can't contain his rage, right? Even as a little kid. And so a lot of the times he'll just stand there and shake because he's trying not to let the anger out, right? He's got all of these emotions bottled up, and he doesn't let them out. And obviously, that's not normal. We're not meant to bottle things up like that, and when we do, we just explode. But he does it on a way that's like so different from any other person. But anyways, while David is trying to find a way to cure his son, Ross comes back into his lab, and he's like, hey man, we know that you experimented on humans. You need to get the fuck out of here. You're done. We're shutting your lab down. You're fucked, bro. And this pisses him off because he's trying to find a way to save his son. And so, what does he do? Oh, he does the smartest move ever as a father and decides to blow up the entire fucking military base. Just like fucking, he's like, all right, you want to fuck with me? Fine. Fuck y'all. I'm taking you out with me. So he fucking goes through and like causes a big meltdown within the military base. This causes the base to go on lockdown. They're hunting for him. They know he's the one that did it. And he's only got a limited time to take matters into his own hands. So because he cannot fix what he did to Bruce, his best option is to kill Bruce. And he takes the mom off into their bedroom and he's like, look, I've got to kill Bruce. Bruce is not normal. Bruce is a monster. I fucked up. We gotta kill him. It's over. It's done. They're gonna experiment on him. They're gonna turn him into a weapon. We can't have that. I assume that's what's said, but I don't know. The dude could just be fucking crazy, but that's how I interpreted it. Especially when you come to find out what happens later on in the movie. But yeah, fucking. The mom's like, fuck no, you're not gonna do that. And then he goes out with a knife, and then we don't really get to see much. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm like putting the pieces all together before they're even supposed to be put together. Okay, so once the screaming stops, Bruce then goes further in time to where he's a teenager. He's been adopted by a new family, and he's going to college to become a scientist, right? And then we fast forward to where Bruce was having a nightmare. He was having a nightmare about his past. He was having a nightmare of his dad doing some fuck shit in this desert. And we fast forward to the present even more so when he finally is that scientist and he's working alongside Betty and a guy named Harper. And they're doing some gamma radiation testing to try to do the same thing that his father was doing unknowingly, and trying to develop a way for things to regenerate, right? And they're testing this on frogs, and they have a big proposal coming up, and they're going to try to perfect it to where they can patent it and start, getting funding for the research. And so they perform a test on this frog, and the frog explodes, and this is not good. And the next day, after this failure, a guy from Alpheon, I believe his name's Talbot. Talbot comes in and he's a military funder, and he's coming in being like, hey, so I know you guys are working on some top of the line shit here. I want you guys to come work for us. We'll give you a big pay raise, but it'll be for the military, which means this will be weaponized. And they want no part of it. And this pisses Talbot off, subtly, but he's like, you know what, think on it, all that shit. And so some time goes on, he comes back, Bruce gets pissed off that he's there. He's like, look, we're not going to fucking do this shit. We ain't about this shit. Fuck off. And Talbot's like, listen, man, I've been trying to be nice, but we can do this the easy way or the hard way. You can come willingly join us, or we'll do a manual takeover and you will be without a job and won't be able to be a scientist ever again. And just this guy's just a fucking Captain Dickhead number 5. And so Captain Dickhead number 5 is just doing nothing but piss Bruce off. In the meantime, while all of this is happening, Betty notices a new janitor that has taken the position from the previous janitor and works the night shift. And she notices this, tries to talk to him, and he's like, yeah, the other guy died, so I'm the new replacement. And this guy is important. And he also brings his dogs to work, which is very interesting. But one night, Bruce, not one night, some time goes by and they are trying to get things back operational so they can prove that this research they've been doing works, right? Well, Harper is in the room with the machine trying to get everything back operational after the incident with the frog. And he notices something going on. The machine activates without any prompt, and like starts to malfunction. Bruce immediately steps in, tries to help Harper, immediately makes sure Harper is out of the way because the machine is activating, and they're both going to get hit with rays. So what does Bruce do? He jumps in front of the machine so the gamma rays only hit him and doesn't affect Harper because Harper can't get out in time. So he takes the full blast of the gamma radiation. You know, this is his origin. This is how he's going to be able to turn into Hulk. Well, instead of him dying, and Betty was damn near behind the glass wall about to watch him die, he wakes up in the hospital, and he's trying to calm Betty down. Betty's freaking out because, you know, she damn near was supposed to watch him die. He was supposed to die, and nothing can explain why he's not dead. And even the doctor's like, I want whatever you have because you're perfectly fucking fine, if not better. And he had a bad knee to the point to where his knee is now fully healed and all this shit, right? Well, you know, he can't explain it. He goes off to sleep and assures Betty that everything's okay. And then he wakes up and that old janitor is in his room with his dogs. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing in my room right now? And he's like, listen, I know you've been through a lot, but you gotta believe me, there's more to you than meets the eye type shit, right? And he explains to him that's like, Luke, I am your father, you know, I'm the reason why you're like this, and you need to look deeper if you want to find out what's wrong with you. Bruce doesn't want to believe this. He thinks this dude's fucking crazy, tells him to get out, and doesn't want to believe him. So the guy leaves, and Bruce, after he gets out of the hospital, decides to do some digging. And it's late one night, and he's at the lab, and he's testing his own blood. And he realizes that something is fucking going on, and the dude was right, that there's something more to him, and that he is his father. This just pisses Bruce off, because he has nothing but bad memories of his father. And he gets a call from Betty saying that Talbot is going to manually take over the labs. They're doing the manual takeover. Everything is just building Bruce up to the point where he's about to fucking explode. And boy howdy, he explodes. And he just can't hold in his rage anymore, and he turns into the Hulk for the first time. And he crashes through everything. He can't control himself. He's bashing and bumbling his way around. And he just starts going on a fucking rampage, just destroying it. He's like, fuck it. If I can't have this lab, no one can. Fuck Talbot. And just fucking destroys the machine. Fucking just throws it through the walls. Just fucking destroying the entire lab. All of this crazy shit. And the janitor, his dad, sees him. And he's like, holy shit. That's my son. And Hulk notices him staring at him, and he goes to him. They have a little moment, but then the memories of his dad start coming back, and it pisses him off more. So he jumps through the roof and just screams at the top of his lungs, letting his anger and frustration with everything finally out. And then goes back home, and we cut to Betty trying to see if Bruce is okay, because the lab has been fucking destroyed. And oh shit. So she goes to his home and finds Bruce completely passed out. His back door is open, and Bruce is completely like shirtless and with ripped pants on his bed, just fucking zonked the fuck out. He wakes up, he's fucking doing nothing but eating, because it's almost like he just ran a marathon and is starving. And she's noticing this. He's acting pretty strange. But she asks him if he was at the lab and that it was all destroyed and somebody destroyed the lab. And he's like, no, I wasn't there. But I had this strange dream and was describing how it felt. And it felt free. It felt like he could feel his heart just boom, boom, boom. All of this stuff, right? He felt anger and rage of everything. It just finally felt good to let it out, right? And as they're talking, Betty's father, Ross, who I forgot to mention was in town, talking about the whole merger with stuff. He was really there to make sure that the merger with Atheon, or whatever the hell the Talbot's company is, was going to happen. And Betty got all pissy and thought he was there to see her. And, he's he is there to see her, but he's also there to do business. He's standing 10 toes down when it comes into business. But yeah, so Ross goes to Bruce's home, and Betty opens the door like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And he's like, I gotta talk to Bruce. And he goes, "Hey Bruce, what's going on? So were you at the lab last night?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Strange, you must have been, because you left your wallet behind." Ruh-roh, Bruce is in trouble. And so Betty leaves, and Ross and Bruce have a heart-to-heart. Well, more so, Ross is trying to piss him off. In the meantime, while these two are talking, Betty decides to go and talk to Bruce's father, because in the meantime, Bruce had let Betty know before Ross had arrived that the janitor is his father, and was describing all of these things about him, that there's something going on with Bruce. And so Betty wants answers, so she goes to talk to the father and does some digging of her own. And while this is going on, Ross is going on to Bruce like, "Listen, Bruce, I know you remember your father. Your father just got out of jail recently. He's a piece of shit, and we suspect that you're just like him." And he's like, "I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. He's like, "I don't fucking know who he is. I don't even talk to him. What the fuck are you on about, fam?" And he's like, oh, you don't remember fucking shit, do you? You've suppressed those memories. Oh, well, ain't that fucking cute?" And, they're still talking, and he puts Bruce on lockdown and on watch because he sees Bruce as a threat. And, so in the meantime, Betty is talking to Bruce's dad, and Bruce's dad is like, "Yeah, there's some shit going on with Bruce, but, he doesn't want anything to do with me, and I can't help you or him, so you best get the fuck out of here." Basically, in short terms. I'm not doing a full in-depth review. I'm just going off a basic, flow here. And so she goes back home, not really getting a whole lot out of him, other than getting creeped out by his dad. And, so Bruce is now on lockdown. But before, Betty fully leaves, the dad has been experimenting on himself and his animals, and specifically his dogs. And he has managed to get Bruce's DNA, so when Bruce turned into Hulk, he was able to turn his dogs into Hulkified dogs. And he sends them to go after Betty. And back to Bruce. Bruce is on the watch, and Talbot's outside, and is one of the guys watching him. Talbot gets told that he has been shoved aside and is no longer head of the project and whatever. And this pisses Talbot off, and Talbot comes inside and starts fucking going in on Bruce. Like, "Hey, listen here, you piece of shit. You think you can go around behind my back and go up to Ross and get me thrown off the project? You're fucking nuts, bro. Go fuck yourself. Who the fuck do you think you are?" Starts fucking wailing on Bruce, just fucking pushing him. And finally, Bruce yet again snaps. Oh, and not only to add on top of that, but Bruce got a phone call from his dad saying that the dogs are going after Betty, which also pisses Bruce off. And he was about to go try to get to Betty, and is explaining to Talbot while Talbot's fucking wailing on him, "Look, Betty's in trouble. We gotta go help Betty." And Talbot's like, "Listen here, I don't give a flying fuck. You owe me, bitch." And he turns into Hulk and fucking just chucks Talbot through his own fucking house, right out his front window, and shuts him the fuck up real quick. And he fucking just goes ham, and they start shooting at him, and he picks up Talbot and throws him directly on the soldiers. Dude, fucking hilarious. It's just so hilarious. But he 100% just goes to town and tries to make his way to Betty. While he does make his way to Betty, Betty notices a noise outside. She goes to check it out, and she sees Bruce outside. And he's fully hulked out, and she notices him, and he comes up to her, and she just realizes in an instant that it's Bruce. And he has a somber moment. He's not really being angry with her. He's calm, and he's not, allowing himself to feel anger. And he's just, watching over her, making sure that he's okay. Making sure that she's okay. And while this happens, the dogs finally arrive, and he puts her in her van and just goes to fucking town on these dogs, bro. Like, the only thing I wish would have been different about this scene was that it was a little bit brighter so we could actually see him be Hulk. Because at this point, it's been twice now that he's been doing shit in the dark. But, I kind of like that, because it's almost like a mystery. Like, what does he look like fully in the light, dude? Like, what is he going to look like? And, also, it was probably to hide the CGI, but you know what? I don't care. It was still fucking good. And he's fucking going to town on these dogs and just fucking beats the ever-living shit out of them. And because they're Hulkified dogs, they can fucking take it. But, they're not going to stop until they kill Betty. And he can't have that. So he fucking kills all three of the dogs. Once they're all dead, he calms down, goes off by himself, and he shrinks back down to normal Bruce Banner, and he goes and crawls over to Betty. Betty's like still in shock and like, what the fuck is going on? And he's explaining like, when I found out that my dad sent the dogs after you, I had to make sure that you were okay. And he's, trying to remember what happened, because every time he goes into the Hulk, he's not the one in control. It's different. The Hulk is different from him, and so he's like, I can't control myself, and I had to kill these dogs. And when he says that, it pisses him off that he had to kill dogs, and he puts his hands around Betty unintentionally because he's so angry he can't control himself. And he finally realizes that he's hurting Betty, and he lets go, and he's still trying to reel and process what happened. And as he's processing this, he's led into her house, and she's trying to calm him down, and he's explaining how it feels, and he likes it. He likes being able to let go and to just be free and not have to hold in this anger and rage anymore. But it scares him because it's like he can't control it. But he goes and falls asleep, and when he wakes up, Betty had apparently called in her dad, and her dad takes Bruce back to the original military base where he grew up and holds him there. And, it's for his own good, so they can try to fix him. Betty wants to fix him. However, the government wants to turn him into a weapon so they can work on what I believe is the super soldier serum from Captain America and try to fucking make super soldiers. They want to make super soldiers. And the lead of this is going to be charged by none other than Talbot. And, Betty's pleading with her father, like, please let me talk to him. I can break through to him. I can get him to describe what's going on and be able to help him in a way that I don't think you guys can. Because you guys aren't going to end up helping him. You're going to end up just using him and prodding him and trying to weaponize him. So he allows it. They go walk and talk, and he's walking through the neighborhood, and she's trying to get him to re-experience the memories, and he doesn't remember much. He remembers what it was like to be a kid, and that he must have seen Betty at some point, and they used to be friends, potentially. And he doesn't remember a lot. He just remembers this one particular memory, and they go back to his childhood home, and he's already feeling this emotional trauma being in this. Something traumatic happened here, and he doesn't allow himself to relive it, and he's constantly forced to experience this memory over and over, and it's been constant throughout the entire movie. This particular memory has like fucked him up. And So she's like, no, you need to actually experience the memory. What's going on here? And he's like, nothing's gone on here. And he still refuses to accept that something fucked up happened to him, other than his dad did something, right? And so he goes back. They didn't really make a lot of headway, but in this time, his dad is in the old lab trying to finally crack the code on how to become like his son. And so he fixes the machine to the point where he ingests radiation and gets hit with rays from this machine in the middle of, and like tries to recreate what happened to Bruce. It works to an extent, and he's now able to absorb anything he allows himself. When he's touching and all that stuff, he becomes the absorbing man, and he gets caught by a security guard, easily takes this dude out. And I gotta say, the CGI where his fucking hand melds into the metal still to this day fucking blows my mind, and is so cool how his hand just melts into the metal, and just like the sound design of it like shifting around, and like it's so good, dude. It's so good. And then the foot, of course, looks odd, but it's pretty badass, bro. It's pretty fucking badass. And he knocks out this guard and like escapes and goes back home, of course. And then cut back to Betty and Ross, and she's trying to go back and doesn't have clearance anymore. And apparently Talbot has taken over as head in charge of watching Bruce, and he's going to do everything he can to extract Bruce's DNA to be able to replicate what he has and be able to sell the patent and make a shit ton of money. But also, I think there was rumors that he would become Abomination in the second film, and god damn it, I wish they made a second film, but we'll get there. And oh fuck, dude, like, he's sitting there trying to get Bruce to turn into the Hulk. He's like pissing him off, like, yeah, you're gonna fucking turn, otherwise I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you, and just fucking goes in on him and fucking howls at him, and knocks him out. And he's like, fine, if you can't do it while you're conscious, we'll fuck with your subconscious, and puts him in this tank and tries to make him re-experience his negative memory. Well, after Betty was unable to go see Bruce again, she gives up, goes back home, and then goes and back home to the point, and she realizes that David, his dad, is in her house, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, well, I know that like everything is kind of fucked, and I probably am gonna go to jail for the rest of my life. I will turn myself in as long as you give me another chance to see my son one last time. And she's like, I can't do that. My dad doesn't even have proper clearance anymore. And he's like, oh, so he's a puppet now. I see. Well, please just try your best. And so yeah, and then it cuts back to Talbot. Talbot is trying to experience the memory, and during this part we get some more depth from his dad, and his dad explains that, like, you know, he was a normal guy, and like, you know, all of this, you know, he was just trying to help Bruce. And he explains about what happened, how Ross like stopped him from being able to find a cure, and he was talking about how he loved his wife and all this stuff. And then we get the twist that while Bruce is experiencing this, we get to see what happened as the dad's explaining this, and it's super emotional, super cool. And he explains how the events went down, how he felt like his son was a freak, and he had already blown up the military base and was about to get arrested, and was like trying to make sure that they didn't weaponize Bruce or some shit, and then tries to kill Bruce. He was never going to kill the wife, but was going to kill Bruce. And she gets in the way, and he lost his wife instead of Bruce. And she dies. He had stabbed her. He gets arrested and sent to jail for 30 years. And Bruce gets put up for adoption. And holy shit, that was an emotional roller coaster watching that unfold, you know. And cut back to Bruce. Bruce is pissed. This is a memory that just fucking pisses Bruce off, and he starts to turn because subconsciously he is allowing himself to feel, and he's upset about this because he felt like he was unable to help his mom, and is pissed that his dad was allowed to basically get away with his mom's murder, and he just rages and fucking, quite frankly, deserved, bro. He fucking just goes full on Hulk, and they're trying to extract the enzymes from him or some shit while he's in this tank, but it doesn't work. They can't penetrate the skin. Talbot realizes that he fucked up, but he still wants those goddamn enzymes, and so he's gonna do everything he can to fucking become the guy with the patent on making Hulks. So Hulk fucking breaks out of the tank and he starts running through this facility, which is completely underground, and this sequence is really cool. And Talbot has them deploy gel. Ross is screaming like, "You done fucked up, bro. You need to let me take over now." And Hulk just like is fucking going on a rampage. They spray him with gel to where he's unable to move. But this only slows him down. This doesn't fully stop him. He's fucking going to break through this gel sooner or later. And Talbot gets up close to him, tries to extract it, but doesn't get the chance to before Hulk starts to break through the gel and pushes him back. And he launches a grenade launcher at him. And this doesn't work. It just bounces off of his skin, and then he fucking explodes. Presumably dead, but he's more than likely alive. Because we never actually see him die, because it does like this cool little montage thing. And then like Hulk starts breaking through the facility. This is the most aggressive we have. Dude, he goes on like the longest fucking rampage, longer than I think we've seen in the MCU, of him just going to fucking town, bro. He's destroying lights and shit. He's destroying this fucking facility left and right. He fucking jumps up. He's not even hurting people. He's just like fucking like just going through. And that's the thing. The key detail here is that he doesn't purposely hurt anyone. He's not picking people up and just fucking chucking them, doing all this crazy wacky shit you would assume would happen, right? Now, I'm assuming people will get injured because it's casualties, but he's not doing it on purpose. And that is the thing. He's just fucking freaking out and going full rage because he's pissed off. He takes, and they're trying to do everything they can. They're like shutting down areas of the facility, and they're fucking like shooting at him and shit. And he takes this fucking disc thing, knows exactly where the fucking room is that Ross is, and hurls this fucking piece of like, I think it's a door or something, and like throws it at the control room, dude, like a fucking frisbee, and fucking just destroys that fucking room with this thing. And they just shut the lights out. He's like, "Look, we gotta get him the fuck out of here. We're not gonna be able to win with him down here while we're trapped with him down here. We need to get him out in the open so we have a better chance of fighting this motherfucker." So they let him free. They show him the way out. He climbs out. He jumps the fuck out and jumps into the desert. He's off by his lonesome. And this is the longest we see him actually stay as the Hulk while actually being like Rage Hulk. And he's just fucking like in the desert. He goes back to his main home and he's just reminiscing and he's feeling. And this is the like time where he's like still Hulk by himself, but he's got emotion. He's longing to like, I don't know, like he feels a connection to this home, and he's trying to heal from this trauma even while it's Hulk. Like you can see the emotion in his eyes and on his face that he's, you know, not this like fucking monster that's just out to fucking destroy shit. But you know, the military doesn't see it that way. He's a fucking big level threat and he's gonna cause casualties. And they fucking bomb his home and start shooting at him with fucking missiles and shit, and so he just starts running, taking off. And then the military still pursues. They chase him down on tanks, and dude, he fucking goes to town on these tanks. He doesn't hold back. Apparently they survive, and he doesn't end up killing anybody, but he's just destroying the tank, so they stop shooting at him. And fucking he just beats the ever living shit out of these tanks, dude. And then he takes the top off of one and fucking uses it as a baseball bat, and then it breaks down to the point where he's using it as a hammer, and then fucking just throws it down, bends the fucking part of the tank that shoots out the fucking projectile, aims it at the guy inside the tank. It's like, yeah, now fucking shoot, bitch. But dude, the aura that this Hulk has is fucking unmatched, bro. And then helicopters chase him down. He's running still in the desert, fucking jumping, doing all this cool shit, you know. And they're fucking shooting missiles at him and shit. He grabs the missile before it hits him, fucking bites the tip off, and throws it back at the fucking helicopter. Bro, this shit is fucking... The fact that he bites the tip off of a missile, dude, it's so sick. And then he fucking just starts going to town on these helicopters. They can't fucking take him down. And this is when I realized they start calling Ross T-Bolt Ross, Thunderbolt Ross. Never caught that the first time I watched this. I'm so glad I rewatched this with the Thunderbolts coming out soon. Like, fuck, that was cool. Anyways, he gets chased all the way down to San Francisco. He jumps on the Golden Gate Bridge, and one of the fighter jets like loses control of the jet and is about to crash into people on the bridge. So the Hulk jumps down on top of this plane and makes sure that it misses people, but then the plane lifts up into the sky, and they're gonna take him out into high altitude, and are gonna fucking take him out to near edge of space. So Hulk fucking rides up on this jet all the way up to where he damn near goes into space. Still is holding on to this fucking thing. They thought he would fall by this point. He finally does. He lets go, and then he's back into dreaming about his dad, and it's just pissing him off more. And then he falls and plummets into the ocean, and they think that's the last of it. They're bombing him, and meanwhile, T-Bolt Ross is on call with his daughter, like, hey, he's coming to you. He's going to do everything he can to get to you. He's probably damn near already there. And she's like, why don't I just go to him? And he's like, no, it's fucking too dangerous. She's like, let me try. And he's like, fine, fuck it. And then so he goes and picks her up. And then from the ocean, Hulk, I think, goes into the sewer, crawls under the fucking ground, and pops up in the middle of this fucking road and just goes fucking ham on some cars and shit, causes people to fucking crash. And then he's about to fucking throw a piece of the road at the helicopter with T-Bolt Ross until he realizes that Betty is in that helicopter. And when he looks at Betty, he realizes the destruction he's done and how angry he is, and he calms down and he relaxes. He's not tense anymore. He's not enraged anymore. He's just calm. And he's standing there, and the cops all start surrounding him. The SWAT team surrounds him. The military surrounds him. And Betty comes up to him. And when Betty comes up to him, he fully just feels peace. And he lets himself go back to Bruce. And he walks up to her and hugs her. And she's crying because they're going to kill him. More likely. Like, he's so fucked. And they take him in and they pretty much arrest him. They're going to fucking hold him in a facility and make sure he doesn't turn into the Hulk again. And if he does, they're gonna kill him. And they also have caught his dad. He's turned himself in so he can see his son. And we get a moment between dad and son that is just super emotional. That you really start to see how narcissistic the dad is. Like, the dad is like trying to manipulate his son because he wants to absorb the Hulk from Bruce. He wants that power. He wants that strength. And the scene felt like mostly like a play. The way the dark lights and the way they're like almost on a stage. And it was framed so well, and the emotions are so heavy here. And by this point, the dad is like just fucking revealing how batshit crazy he is. And this villain is so emotionally like fucked, bro. Like, Bruce is going fucking through it. Bruce is fucking depressed, bro. Like, this shit is depressing. Like, holy fuck. But it's good. Like, it's emotionally, it's emotionally, like, fucking, like, on a level that, like, nothing has, like, hit in a while, right? And, like, so he's talking about how his mother, you know, died and everything, and that, like, it basically builds up to the point where he's like, you're not my son. You can cry all you want. You're not my son. The green guy, that is my son. That's my son. You are just human flesh. You're nothing. And he's just still building up, rambling and ranting on and on about how fuck the government, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, all this shit. And Bruce just doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want anything to do with his dad. He's like, fuck you. I'm not turning in the Hulk. You can go fuck yourself. And he's like, oh, okay. Okay, you want me to go? Oh, I'll go. Oh, you'll see how I go. And he bites down on one of the wires, and they start to electrocute him and Bruce, right? And he's just biting down on this fucking thing as he's getting electrocuted, but he's not getting electrocuted. And the government and the military doesn't realize that. Ross doesn't realize that he's absorbing the electricity and fucking gets bigger and bigger and bigger because he's getting powerful and he's absorbing this energy. And Bruce realizes this and fucking instantly turns into Hulk because he's already pissed off. And fucking the absorbing man just fucking crazily just starts beating the shit out of Hulk. And they do it so well, and they frame it so well, like it's like a comic book where he's like in the air flashing, and with each flash you see a different position that the Hulk is in, and they're fucking fighting. And he's trying to fight fucking lightning, bro. Like, when have you ever seen Hulk fight? He gets so pissed off that he's fighting a bolt of lightning, dog. Like, come the fuck on. That is peak, bro. And then he's sitting there trying to fight his dad, but he can't. And his dad, they land into this part of the desert next to a lake. And he starts absorbing the terrain and becomes rocky, almost reminiscent of The Thing, but different. And he starts beating the shit out of it. And it's just rocks, but he's still beating the shit out of it because he knows his dad is still there somewhere. And then they keep fucking fighting. He's not making any headway, but his rage is still going. He can do this all day. Quoting fucking Captain America. And he's just still going to town on his dad. And then the dad fucking just pushes him into the water. And he's like, yes, keep using your strength. Keep trying to fight me. You're just feeding me. You're giving me what I want. But Bruce doesn't fucking care, bro. Bruce is fucking unhinged to the point he's like, fuck it, fine. You want it so bad, fucking take it all, bro. Take it all. See if you can handle this shit, because I barely can handle my own fucking rage. And just fucking lets his dad have the emotional rage and impact, and he can't fucking control it because it's not stopping. It's giving him too much. Too much fucking rage. Too much fucking emotions. And he's feeling everything now, to the point where the water starts swelling above him. And you know Hulk is pissed off when you got him fucking punching at the water, dog. Like, he's sitting there fighting this water like he's fucking fighting for his life, bro. Like, this fucking thing just done said the wrong thing to him and fucking is going to town. Anyways, he's giving it all to his dad. Fucking letting his dad feel the anger, the frustration, the rage, the fucking depressing shit that he feels. And his dad finally feels what he's felt. They have this moment where they bond for the last time, where his dad did love Bruce. And the last time his dad loved Bruce. And it is to the point where Ross says, you know what? We gotta do it. They launch a thermonuclear thing. The absorbing man seemingly dissipates. Who knows if he's still around? That would be a great villain to see fucking come back and have Hulk fucking fight again, bro. Like, that villain, holy shit. That villain is fucking goated. And then it's presumed that Bruce and the absorbing man has died. And they go missing. And A year passes, and Ross calls Betty, and he's like, hey, you would tell me if you've seen Bruce, right? And she's like, no, I wouldn't. Plus, you would already know if he tried to contact me anyway. You've got me, like, wired down to the point that, you know, it wouldn't even make sense for him to come after me anymore, because he knows you're watching me. So, even though I love him, I'll never get to be with him. And we cut to the Brazilian jungle, or a South American jungle, and this doctor is helping this family, and these guys come in from the government down there, like a cartel, and they're like trying to take all the medicine, and it's Bruce, and he's there, and he's speaking in Spanish, and he's like, look, you can't not take this medicine. This village needs this medicine. They're gonna die without this medicine. And he's like, do you think you can fuck with us? We're the government, little bro. Like, we're gonna take this medicine if we want this medicine. And Bruce is like, well, that's fine. You're making me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And it zooms out. We hear Hulk. He's still around. He's still cooking. And then that's where it'll set up for the Incredible Hulk, which is a indirect sequel to this film. And it's a tragedy we didn't get a sequel to this, because I bet if Ang Lee would have been able to cook with the Hulk further, it would have been fucking goated. And I just cannot sing the praises of this movie more. This is one of the longest reviews I have done, and with a good fucking purpose. I absolutely adore this movie, top to bottom, fucking start to finish. This movie, I forgot how peak this movie was. This movie still, hands down, is one of the best Hulk movies in my mind, and I don't think I'll ever change my mind. Unless they do a World War Hulk movie and have Hulk fight Wolverine, maybe, bro. That might actually be peak. Or bring this version of Hulk back, bro. I don't know, man. Like, there's no way I can go from watching this shit to watching Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. Like, this shit's just fucking goated, and like, oh man, I gotta say, I like the bright green. Am I wrong for liking the bright green? It's more in tune to what the Hulk is. The MCU Hulk looks fucking like realistic, and he's darker green, but it like, the bright green stands the fuck out. I'm sorry. I like the bright green. I like the purple. I don't like the fucking khakis that he wears. Like, fucking give us the fucking green and purple, bro. Come on, man. You know? Anyways, that's just some small gripes about the MCU Hulk. But this is about the Hulk movie. This to me is the Hulk. This is so in line to the character that I feel like the modern MCU stuff is lost. Like, where's Betty? Where's this shit with Ross? Hulk doesn't even fight his own fucking villains. Hulk is literally only used for Avengers, and he's barely even utilized. He was only really fucking to his potential in fucking Ultron. If that. Like, oh, fuck, it's so goated. And having him in Ragnarok Hulk was also pretty fucking goated. But it's like, oh man, this movie is just different. This movie is just built different. This is like the most raged he has been, in my opinion. This is the most we see him fucking go ham, bro. And Ang Lee did a fantastic job. And this movie, I feel like, is criminally underrated. It's criminally underrated. This is a great fucking film, start to finish. There's emotional impact throughout the entire thing. You feel for Bruce. You feel what Bruce is going through. They do not hold back when it comes to Bruce's character. And that's the thing. This really nails Bruce down as a character, right? And as an origin film, this is top notch when it comes to the Hulk. And it nails everything about his character, his struggles, his flaws, his rage that he's held in. All his life just culminates into this epic something that just hasn't really been replicated in modern times. And you know what? It probably won't ever be like that, because having, you know, a masculine, like, rage-inducing thing like this, it's not something that we like to focus on anymore. And it's a shame, because that was it's really good storytelling, and it's what a lot of these heroes are best known for, especially with Hulk. And you know, it can be seen as toxic masculinity, but like with a character like Hulk, I think that argument is kind of fucking invalid. And if you have to question whether or not Hulk is being toxic, masculine, and shit like that, then fucking watch Captain Marvel, because you're gonna have a way better time. Fuck. That's it for me. If I had to rate this movie out of 10, to me, this movie, I'm gonna give it an 8.5, just because I overall enjoyed the acting, I enjoyed the CGI. Hell, I would honestly give this movie a 9 out of 10 if I could. But I do understand it's dated, you know, but it doesn't stop it from being a bad movie. And I think this is better than the movies that I have even reviewed on this channel. Like, it's better than the 2015 Fantastic Four. It's better than, hell, a lot of the MCU stuff. It's better than a lot of the MCU stuff. And this honestly should be in the MCU. The fact that it's not is criminal. It's criminal, dude. Like, I don't know. I think this shit's actually goated. And that'll do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys share my thoughts, and if you guys do share my thoughts, let me know. Let me know if you feel the same way I do. Let me know if there was some stuff that I missed and that I messed up interpreting. Maybe you have a different way you interpret this movie. Let me know. I'm curious, because this movie is a great movie, and I feel like it deserves more praise. That'll do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces, everybody. Bye-bye.